At Thanksgiving dinner, my cousin shouted, "Some people here just aren't cut out for success, but we love them anyway." She winked in my direction as the table roared with laughter. A year later, I paid cash for a beach house she could only dream of visiting, and I made sure she got the invite to the housewarming she wasn't welcome at. Let me tell you how one Thanksgiving dinner changed the way I looked at myself, and how I got the last laugh. This isn't just about family drama or someone being rude. It's about being kicked when you're already down, and how I decided I wasn't going to let that be the end of the story. It all started last Thanksgiving in Charleston, South Carolina. My mom's older sister, Aunt Gail, hosts every year. She's one of those Southern matriarchs, big house, big personality, and the kind of person who likes everything to look perfect from the outside. Her house is old school, with white columns, a porch swing, and oil paintings of long-dead ancestors on the walls. I almost didn't go. I'd just been laid off 2 months earlier when the tech startup I worked for in Raleigh collapsed. One day we were in business, and the next, we weren't. I had rent due, credit card debt, and no real plan. I was trying to piece together freelance work and DoorDashed more times that month than I want to admit. I was low. I felt like a failure. But it was family, so I drove the 6 hours in my old 2005 Honda Civic. The AC barely worked, and the tires were down to their last threads. Still, I showed up. I wish I hadn't. Thanksgiving Day started fine. People hugged. Kids ran around screaming. My aunt yelled at everyone to take off their shoes before stepping on her good rug. The food was amazing, like always. The kind of spread where the mashed potatoes had real butter, and the pies looked like something off a cooking show. I sat at the far end of the long table, next to my mom and across from Kelsey. Now let me explain something about Kelsey. She's my cousin on my mom's side. She's 31, 2 years younger than me, and has always been the one people pointed to when they said, "Now that's a girl who's going places." Blonde, tall, teeth so white they looked photoshopped. She got into real estate young, started making sales fast, and filled her Instagram with designer bags and vacation selfies. She lives in Atlanta now, drives a white Mercedes, and refers to herself as a personal brand. To her, people like me are background noise. We've never been close, but we've always played nice in front of the family. She'd do that fake hug thing where she kisses the air near your face and says, "We really need to catch up," but never texts. That night, we were passing around the cranberry sauce, and the conversation shifted to work. My uncle asked how things were going for me. I was honest. I said, "It's been a tough few months, but I've been freelancing a little and thinking about starting something on my own. Maybe digital marketing." Before anyone could respond, Kelsey lifted her glass. She smiled, and in the sweetest voice said, "Here's to success. And to those of us who've actually made it. Some people just aren't cut out for it, but we love them anyway." Then she looked right at me and winked. The room laughed. Some people nervously. Some because they thought it was just Kelsey being funny. My mom squeezed my arm under the table and tried to smile. My aunt said, "Oh, Kelsey, don't start," like it was just a silly joke. I sat there frozen. My hands were tight around my fork. My face felt like it was on fire. I wanted to leave, to throw my napkin and walk out, but I didn't. I just sat there and nodded like I didn't care. But I cared. The worst part was she wasn't wrong, not back then. I was broke, jobless, and crashing on a couch some nights when I couldn't make rent. I felt like a loser. And now everyone at that table thought it too. That drive back to Raleigh was silent. I didn't even put music on. Just me, the dark highway, and my brain playing that scene over and over. But something snapped. When I got home, I didn't go to sleep. I stayed up all night thinking about every job I'd worked, every client I'd helped, and how I had let people like Kelsey convince me that I wasn't worth anything unless I was flashy and loud like her. That's when I made the decision. I was going to build my own business. I didn't have investors. I didn't have a team. But I had skills and I had rage. I filed an LLC the next day. The first few months were rough. I offered free consultations to every small business owner I could find. Coffee shops, dog groomers, mechanics. Anyone with a storefront and a Facebook page. I worked out of my car. $8 store snacks. Slept 5 hours a night. I called it ground level media. Just me and a dream that I was scared to say out loud. By March, I had 5 real clients. By June, I had 10. By September, I had hired 2 part-time contractors and started charging real rates. I didn't post about it. I didn't tell my family. I didn't try to show off. I just worked. And then one day in early November, almost exactly a year after that awful dinner, I signed a contract with a group of used car dealerships. It was the biggest deal I'd ever landed. The wire transfer came through on a Tuesday morning. I stared at the number in my bank account and didn't even feel happy right away. I just felt numb. Then I opened Zillow. I typed in one word, Folly Beach. I knew exactly where I wanted to be. I found the house 2 days later. 3 bedrooms, white deck, steps from the water. $870,000. I offered $850,000. All cash. They took it. And just like that, I went from joke of the family to beach house owner, without a single person knowing what I'd been building all year. The invites for the housewarming went out 2 weeks later. Just family. Even Kelsey got one, but hers was different. The RSVP link didn't work. She could see the invite, the photos, the address, but couldn't click yes. I wanted her to know it was real. I wanted her to see it, but I didn't want her anywhere near it. The message on her invite said, "Looking forward to seeing some familiar faces. Some will just have to admire from afar." The party was perfect. My mom cried when she saw the house. My brother toasted to me. Everyone asked how I did it, and I just said, hard work. Kelsey didn't show. She didn't call. But she posted a photo that same night, sitting at a fancy bar in Atlanta, holding a glass of wine. Caption: Some people chase waves. Others create their own tide. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my drink. She had no idea how much her little joke last Thanksgiving fueled the fire under me. And she still doesn't know I bought the house just a few streets from Aunt Gail's. If you thought that was the end, it wasn't. The beach house was just the beginning. See, I wasn't planning on getting revenge. Not at first. Buying the house and not inviting Kelsey was enough for me. I got what I wanted. I was finally proud of myself. But then she came back. It was about 3 weeks after the housewarming party. I was out on the deck drinking coffee when I got a call from my mom. She said, "You're not going to believe this, but Kelsey is moving to Charleston." I nearly choked on my drink. "What?" I said. "Why?" "She says she wants to be closer to family," Mom said. "But I think it's more than that." It didn't take long to figure it out. Kelsey had seen the photos. She'd heard people talking. And something in her couldn't handle the fact that I, the cousin she mocked, now owned a home in a place she'd only rented Airbnbs in. So she started showing up. First it was small. She posted a photo from a coffee shop downtown with the caption, "Local now nail polish medium light skin tone, #Charleston Life." Then a shot of the Battery with a real estate sign in the background, helping clients dream big in the Lowcountry. I knew what she was doing. She was trying to mark her territory. But I didn't say anything. I let her play her little game. Until one Sunday afternoon, I saw her standing in front of my house. I was upstairs, reading on the couch, when I caught the movement through the window. There she was, in her white BMW, parked across the street. Sunglasses on. Holding her phone like she was filming something. I stepped out onto the porch and stared right at her. She smiled and waved like we were best friends. I didn't wave back. She drove off, but not before I saw her look up at the house one more time. That look said everything. She didn't just want to move on. She wanted to win. A few days later, I got an email. Subject: Potential business opportunity. Let's talk? It was from her. I opened it. My hands shook. "Hey, I've heard amazing things about your agency. Would love to talk about maybe partnering up on some branding work. I'm building my real estate presence out here, and I think we could be great together. Let me know." Kelsey, smiley face. I didn't respond. She sent a follow-up 2 days later. Then she texted me, "Hey stranger, eyes, you ghosting me?" I wasn't ghosting her. I was planning. I had a decision to make. Ignore her forever and enjoy my win, or let her walk into the trap she didn't even see coming. I chose the second. I told her we could meet. We agreed to grab drinks at a rooftop bar downtown. I got there 10 minutes early. She arrived in full glam, heels, curls, the works. "You look great," she said, air kissing my cheek. "You too," I said flatly. She launched into her pitch before we even ordered. She wanted a branding refresh, a new logo, a social media manager, maybe even a podcast. She said she needed someone who actually knows this market. I nodded along, let her talk. Then I told her I'd consider it. She looked stunned. "That's it." "I'm busy," I said. "You're not my only client." She blinked a few times, and I could see it, that tiny crack in her confidence. A week later, I sent her a proposal. But what she didn't know was that the rates I gave her were double what I charged everyone else. And the fine print made it nearly impossible for her to back out once she signed. She didn't even read it. She just sent the deposit. 2 weeks into the project, my assistant, yes, I had an assistant now, texted me. "Client Kelsey is driving us nuts. Wants us to edit her IG captions word by word." I smiled. 3 weeks in, she asked why her follower count wasn't exploding yet. I told her, these things take time. By the 5th week, she demanded to meet again. Said she wanted to realign expectations. We met at a coffee shop. She was pissed. Told me she wasn't impressed. Said she could do this stuff herself if she had more time. I let her rant. I let her feel in charge. Then I slid a copy of the contract across the table. "You're locked in for 6 months, I said. "If you want out, there's a termination fee." Page 4. She picked up the contract like she'd never seen it before. "You tricked me," she said. "No," I said. "You underestimated me." She stared at me for a long time. "You've changed," she said. "No," I said again. "You just finally saw who I am." She hasn't posted about me since. But last week, she uploaded a video crying in her car, talking about how some people in business aren't what they seem. I watched it twice. And then I closed my laptop and went for a walk on the beach. She can have her followers. I have everything else. And I'm not done yet. I thought I was done with Kelsey. Thought she'd lick her wounds, post some vague quotes, and move on to the next person she could use or humiliate. But I should have known better. Kelsey doesn't lose quietly. A month after that coffee shop meeting, weird things started happening. First, one of my clients, a boutique furniture shop I'd worked with for over a year, emailed me and said they were thinking of pausing all marketing services. No reason given. Just done. Then another client, a local bakery. Then another. 3 in 2 weeks. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I got too distracted. Maybe my team dropped the ball. But then, while checking the bakery's Instagram, which we no longer managed, I saw something. A collaboration post. With Kelsey. She was doing a series called Charleston Favorites, Women in Business. And she was highlighting the clients I lost. That's when it clicked. She wasn't just playing hurt. She was trying to bleed my business dry. I called the bakery owner, someone I thought I had a decent relationship with. "Hey," I said. "Can I ask why you decided to cut ties with us?" She hesitated, then said, "Kelsey offered to promote us for free. She said she had more reach." I'm really sorry. It stung. Not because I lost a few contracts, but because she was using my business model to build her own brand, right in my backyard. It was war now, and I wasn't going to play defense. I called my lawyer. I had her review our contract with Kelsey again, looking for anything, late payments, breach of scope, misuse of deliverables. Sure enough, she found something. Kelsey had used an ad graphic we created for another business on her personal site. No credit, no permission, no license. I filed a cease and desist. She ignored it. So we escalated. A formal letter. Threat of civil suit. Damages. Then the best part, I started reaching out to her clients, quietly, carefully. Not to poach. Just to inform. Hi, just a heads up, I noticed you're working with Kelsey. Some of her materials might include content from our agency. We've had some legal disputes with her around unauthorized use. Suddenly, Kelsey's reputation started to crumble. Nothing loud, nothing dramatic. But in Charleston, small business circles are tight. And word spreads fast. She texted me one night at 1:12 a.m. What the hell is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? I didn't answer. She followed up. I never did anything to you. That's when I lost it. I wrote back. You humiliated me. You used me. And now you're shocked that I didn't roll over? You made your move. Now deal with mine. She didn't reply. But the next day, she posted a selfie from a coffee shop with a long caption about fake people who can't handle competition. I could tell she was unraveling. Her videos started getting sloppier. Her collabs dried up. I heard through the grapevine she'd lost 2 of her own sponsors after the copyright complaint hit public record. But she still hadn't hit bottom. That would come a little later. One night, I got a call from my mom. I ran into Kelsey at the store today, she said, voice low. Yeah. I answered, not sure where this was going. She looked bad, Mom said. Puffy eyes. No makeup. She was in line with nothing but a single frozen dinner and a bottle of cheap wine. That visual stayed with me, because I knew that look. I'd lived it a year ago. But the difference was I never blamed anyone else for my rock bottom. I used it to rebuild. Kelsey? She was just digging for someone else to blame. But the real twist came 2 weeks later. I got an email from a guy named Darren. He said he was working with Kelsey on launching her new Women's Success Workshop brand, and asked if I would be willing to bury the hatchet and speak at the first event. I laughed out loud. She wanted me to be her headline speaker at an event about overcoming failure and building your own empire. I stared at that email for a long time. Then I picked up the phone and called Darren. Sure, I said. I'll do it. He was thrilled, but I didn't tell him what I had planned. The day of Kelsey's big event came fast. It was held at a small event space in Mount Pleasant, polished concrete floors, rented gold chairs, a table of sad cheese cubes, and off-brand wine. Maybe 40 people in the room, most of them small business owners, social media types, and women in blazers who smiled too hard. I showed up early, not to be polite, just to see her squirm. She didn't notice me right away. When she did, her face twitched, just for a second. Then she smoothed it out and walked over like we were friends again. Thanks for coming, she said. This means a lot. I smiled. It really does, I said. She gave me a quick hug, fake, stiff, and introduced me to Darren. He was young, eager, and clearly had no idea what was coming. The event started with Kelsey giving a long, drawn-out intro about failure, toxic mindsets, and how some people will try to tear you down when they can't stand your success. Her voice trembled with every word. She called me up as the perfect example of resilience. I took the mic, and I didn't hold back. Thanks, Kelsey, I said. And thanks to all of you here tonight. People smiled and nodded, waiting for the usual speech about growth and grit. But I had something else in mind. A little over a year ago, I sat at Thanksgiving dinner while Kelsey humiliated me in front of my whole family. Told the room I wasn't cut out for success, and then winked at me like it was funny. The room went still. I was broke, unemployed, depressed. That comment almost broke me. A few heads turned toward Kelsey. But instead of letting it ruin me, I built something. I built a business from scratch. I signed clients. I bought a house, cash, right here, in the same city where she tried to start over. Kelsey stood frozen at the back of the room. And then she tried to take that from me too. Undercut my clients. Copied my ideas. Broke a contract she didn't even read. And when that didn't work, she invited me here, thinking she could use my name to boost her brand. A woman in the front whispered, "Oh my God." So no. This isn't a story about resilience, I said. This is a story about revenge. About what happens when you write someone off, humiliate them, then try to use them when they get back up. I turned to Kelsey. You don't get to step on people and then act like you're the victim when they fight back. I set the mic down on the table, walked out. I didn't look back, but the fallout was fast. Word spread in local business circles. People started pulling out of her event series. Her co-host dropped her name from the website a week later. I heard from a client that Kelsey tried to spin it as a misunderstanding, but the video of my speech had already hit Instagram. Someone in the crowd posted it with a caption, "Girl boss culture has consequences." Her brand collapsed. She went quiet on social media, deleted all her Charleston posts, moved back to Atlanta by February. I haven't seen her since. As for me, my business is steady now. I kept most of my clients, grew slow, careful, strong. Sometimes I sit on the deck of my beach house with a glass of bourbon and stare out at the ocean. I think about how small I felt that night at Thanksgiving, how hard it was to sit there and let them laugh at me, and how far I've come since. But I don't pretend I'm perfect. I know I got mean. I know I took it too far. And part of me wonders what it says about me that I didn't just want to win. I wanted her to lose. Still, I don't regret it, because some people need to learn the hard way that not everyone stays down, especially not the ones you humiliate in front of family.